Welcome back to another video. Now today Tottenham have announced that they've actually loaned a couple of players out. Now the first up is Georgiou Marsh. He made his debut for Tottenham away in the FA Cup at Tranmere in January of this year. But he has joined Leyton Orient today on loan until January. Personally, I think this is an excellent move for him. He didn't play in the under-23 game against Manchester City on Friday night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And he's just in between the under-23s and the first team squad now. He's actually merged into the first team squad a lot recently, certainly towards the end of last season and the summer tour. He went to Shanghai and Singapore and in the Audi Cup as well. He's done really well actually. I think he's just in between that under-23 slot and the first team. So to get game time, players like this have to go out on loan. It's very, very important, and I think this will be an excellent move for him. So he has gone on loan to Leyton Orient until January, so good luck to him. Tottenham also announced today that Anthony Georgiou, who played a couple of times as well during the summer tour in Shanghai and Singapore, he's actually signed a brand new contract today until 2021. So many congratulations to him. And he has also gone out on loan today to League One side Ipswich Town. And he has gone on loan until January. Wish him all the best. And him exactly the same as Georgiou Marsh. He's now out of that under-23 lineup, and now he's on the verge of playing in the Tottenham first team. But to get game time, this is very, very important of players of this age. Once they're out of the under-23 squad, then if they're not playing for the first team, it's very, very important that they get game time. So he's gone out on loan to Ipswich until January. Other news today, our brand new signing from Real Betis, Giovanni Lo Celso. He's actually been called up to the Argentina squad. He made his Tottenham debut on Saturday at the Etihad Stadium. Played 5 or 6 minutes for Tottenham. Didn't get that much of the ball, but really looking forward to seeing him perhaps in the starting lineup against Newcastle this coming weekend. So, what is happening with Fernando Llorente? Apparently, Tottenham offered Fernando Llorente a 1-year deal to stay at the club. There has been absolutely no official announcement that Fernando Llorente has actually left. His contract expired at the end of June. So, what's happening with him? There has been reports that the 34-year-old striker is actually being wanted by Inter Milan, Fiorentina and Napoli. Llorente actually spent 3 seasons at Juventus in Italy, scoring 23 goals in 66 appearances. Now, if he's not going to find a club very soon, would you like him back at Tottenham? I think he would be an excellent backup striker. I think he would be an excellent player to have on the bench, and he just brings a lot of experience with him. So let me know in the comments section below whether you would like Fernando Llorente back at the club. Now, another report is about Christian Eriksen, this ongoing thing about what's going to happen with Christian Eriksen. Of course, he was back in the starting lineup at the Etihad Stadium at the weekend against Manchester City. The Sun have actually reported that Real Madrid are going to be putting in a last-minute bid for Christian Eriksen of around £60 million. What will the club do if that happens? And Christian Eriksen has only got 10 months left of his contract at the moment. I think that they would probably cash in. If he's not going to sign a new contract, he would probably leave on a free transfer in the summer. None of us want that, do we? Pochettino has actually said as well, or has confirmed that Christian Eriksen's future is still uncertain. I would personally love to see Christian Eriksen sign a brand new contract at the club. You know, I don't need to say it anymore. I've said it on hundreds of videos. He's one of my favourite players. I think he's fantastic. I just hope he stays. But one thing I do hope is that if he does end up leaving Tottenham, that it's not on a free transfer, you know, next summer. So Tottenham's results this weekend. Obviously the first team got that 2-2 draw in that dramatic game against Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium. Lucas Moura scoring His goal with his first touch off the subs bench, absolutely dramatic scene, absolutely brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed that day. Now, the under-23s, if you didn't see it, they actually beat Manchester City 3-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Friday night. Please do check out that video that I've done there. Now, Troy Parrott got 2 of those goals, and his first goal on the night, absolutely superb. Turned, shot top corner, went straight in, absolutely brilliant goal. Paris Magoma scored an absolute cracker as well. 2 brilliant goals, two of the best goals we've probably seen at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium so far. The under-18s actually lost 3-2 at home at Hotspur Way against Brighton under-18s. I just want to talk a little bit about Tanguy Ndombele, of course, our record signing at Tottenham. And so far he's scored 1 goal and he's got 1 assist in his first 2 Premier League games. I felt that he could have done an awful lot more at the weekend against Manchester City. And I just think that he will adapt to the Premier League. I think it will take him time, but I think that he will just get better and better in every game he plays. Of course, he's got Moussa Sissoko, his fellow countryman, beside him, and I think that them two will be a force to be reckoned with in the centre of midfield. But we've got a lot of players coming back. You know, people like Eric Dyer. Will he ever get back into the team? Victor Wanyama, will he end up leaving, or will he end up coming back into the team? Harry Winks as well. You know, everyone's fighting for places, and if Christian Eriksen stays as well, of course you've got Eric Lamela in the starting lineup at the moment, Lucas Moura, then you've got Giovanni Lo Celso as well. You know, there's lots of players fighting for positions, so I think that's very, very healthy actually, and I think it's great that players are actually fighting for places. I really do. So let's talk a little bit about the Manchester City game at the weekend. Manchester City 2, Tottenham 2. Tottenham basically had 2 shots on target. We scored 2 goals. If we're being completely honest, and I'm being completely honest about it, we got absolutely battered in the game. Manchester City just created so many chances, didn't convert most of them, and we went up the other end and took the 2 chances that we had. And Lamela's goal, absolutely brilliant. Shot left foot, went straight under Ederson. And Lucas Moura with his first touch. What a moment that was. Lucas Moura, he seems to just love scoring huge goals and against big teams. So, you know, long may that continue. But does Lucas Moura, in your opinion, deserve a place in the starting lineup? Who would you take out if Lucas Moura was to come in? But whenever Lucas Moura seems to come in and you know, he does the job, gets the job done, and as I say, scores vital goals. But the VAR incident at the end of the game, Gabriel Jesus, every Manchester City fan in the stadium thought that he'd got the last, last dying seconds. So, you know, put the ball in the net. I just love the smile from Hugo Lloris when Mike Oliver obviously said no, it's going to VAR, because you know, a player like Hugo Lloris, he would have known what was happening, and you know, the fans up to that point didn't know what was happening. I was in the stadium in the away section, and when we all saw the VAR symbol come up on their screens, we just couldn't believe it. You know, everyone was jumping for joy, singing the VAR song. It was just incredible scenes in their away end, and to nick a draw at the Etihad at this stage of the season, I think is huge for Tottenham. I think that the 2 games that we've played so far, Aston Villa, I don't think that we played that well, but we grinded that result out. And the Manchester City game, as I say, I think we got battered, and you know, the amount of chances Manchester City created, they should have won the game comfortably, and they didn't. And we grinded that result out as well. And I think that Tottenham showed a lot of character in coming back, you know, from 1-0 down and then 2-1 down. So fair play to the Tottenham team for that. Now Pochettino actually said, without that mentality, it's impossible to get the result we got today. That speaks very highly about the character of the team, and I couldn't agree more. The character Tottenham showed to come back. You know, Manchester City, they score goals for fun. Their players are absolutely superb. You know, most of their subs would walk into any Premier League team, and they are the Premier League champions. So it's a very, very difficult place to go. So I just want to talk about when I left the Etihad Stadium at the weekend. Now, I had my 13-year-old son with me, Harry. Harry comes to a lot of the away games with me. And when we were leaving the away section, there are gates just outside the away section, and then you actually go out onto the main road. Now, when we left that main road, a lot of Tottenham fans were singing the VAR song. A lot of Tottenham fans were extremely happy that we got a 2-2 draw. I know, celebrating a draw, but it was just the way it happened. As I said earlier in the video, we got absolutely battered in the game. So to get a result like a 2-2 draw at the Premier League champions, the way it was done and how funny it seemed that VAR struck again. A lot of Tottenham fans were in high spirits, singing the VAR song. Of course, a lot of Manchester City fans were walking by. And then straight as we got onto the road, I witnessed a lot of Manchester City fans, and I'm talking 50 or 60 fans. It wasn't just a couple, and it wasn't young people either. It was people in their 40s and their 50s, punching, spitting, shouting, swearing, all the rest of it. But the way that a lot of the fans just charged towards innocent Tottenham fans, and I'm talking women, older people, even kids. You know, a lot of kids were there witnessing all of this and crying, and it just wasn't on. It really, really wasn't. What I witnessed, you know, I put a tweet out, and I know some people have said how dreadful it is. Some people have said, well, so what, you know, and some people are even condoning all of this happening. You know, when I take my son, who's 13, to a game, I do not expect to have opposition fans running at us, punching, swearing, spitting, and all of that. It's just not on. You know, when you go into the Premier League champions as well, and it was such a contrast because last time I was at the Etihad was for the Champions League game when we lost 4-3, but we went through on away goals. You know, the VAR incident again. We're actually in McDonald's just by the ground, and a lot of fans, when we were sat there eating after that match, a lot of fans come up to us and said, "Good luck against Ajax in the semi-finals. You know, I hope you win the Champions League." And I couldn't believe it. You know, if I'm honest, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have probably just been sulking the fact that we'd lost. I wouldn't have gone up to a Manchester City fan, but that's just me. And I just thought, fair play to a lot of the Manchester City fans, because they were probably naturally disappointed that night not to have gone through, and especially the way it happened through the Raheem Sterling disallowed goal, and then we went through on VAR. You know, all of that. You know the story. But the contrast of having such friendly fans that night to then drawing a Premier League game 2-2 and having all of this going on, and there wasn't enough police to actually deal with the situation. The police were doing all what they could, and they did actually film a lot of the incidents as well. And later I said, you know, what will you do with this footage? They said that they actually submit the footage to the club, and then the club, you know, it's up to the club whether they act on it, ban people, or whatever they do with it. But I just don't think that has a place in football at all, especially when there's young kids involved, there's women there, and there's a lot of older people as well, and there was innocent people getting punched and spat at, which I just don't think that is acceptable.